Tune into Nice Radio every Saturday at 7:30 a.m. for A View from the Outside, hosted by Brereton Horne. A View from the Outside takes a look at key issues affecting St. Vincent and the Grenadines and gives a global perspective on how these issues are viewed. Host Brereton Horne will examine a variety of topics to enlighten, stimulate debate, and explore solutions. Hear the facts, hear the real-life stories, hear A View from the Outside. Join Brereton Horne at 7:30 a.m. every Saturday on Nice Radio for A View from the Outside.
This society need a spectacle. It might help us to see some evil. This society need a spectacle.
On A View from the Outside this week being the 10th of February 2024, we look at conspiracy. Conspiracy, conspiracy. And we look specifically at criminal conspiracy as opposed to the commonly used term conspiracy theory. A conspiracy theory is one where people reject the official version or explanation of an event or occurrence, especially put out by an organization, including government. In other words, a conspiracy theory is where people speculate and put forward alternative perspectives rather than accept the one or the ones advanced officially. A criminal conspiracy, on the other hand, involves an agreement to commit a crime. The Black's Law Dictionary defines conspiracy, as in criminal conspiracy, as an agreement between two or more persons to commit an unlawful act. And the American lawyer and former White House Chief of Staff Richard Painter said, a criminal conspiracy requires not only that the conspirators know that a crime is going to be committed, but that they knowingly intend to help each other commit the crime and then commit certain overt acts in connection with that conspiracy. From those definitions, we know that it takes two or more people to agree to commit a crime and to commit it for there to be a conspiracy. And therefore, it goes without saying that a conspiracy is an agreement between at least two people. And we also know that the agreement that they enter into is to commit an unlawful act or a crime. It is important to note that the agreement which constitutes a conspiracy does not have to be something written down. It can be by word of mouth, or it can be by simply nodding in agreement with someone or some other person or persons to commit a crime. Since a conspiracy is an agreement to commit a crime, it means that there could be a conspiracy to most crimes. For example, there can be a conspiracy to murder, where several people agree to commit a murder. There can be a conspiracy to robbery. There can be a conspiracy to commit burglary, a conspiracy to steal or thief, and that includes prédial larceny. There can be a conspiracy to traffic or supply illegal drugs, etc. It is in the context of those definitions, and especially in light of the conviction in the high-profile case of the former Premier of the British Virgin Islands, the BVI, Andrew Fye, that we, here on A View from the Outside, pursue this topic today. Just a few days ago, in fact, on Thursday the 8th of February 2024, following a 7-day trial, a jury of 12 members in a court in Miami, Florida, unanimously found the former Premier of the BVI, Andrew Fye, guilty of conspiracy to smuggle thousands of kilograms of cocaine into the United States of America. He was also found guilty of conspiracy to money laundering and for foreign travel in aid of racketeering. Having been convicted of those offences, Mr. Fye will be sentenced on the 29th of April 2024, and he now faces life imprisonment and a fine of $10 million on the charge of conspiracy to smuggle cocaine into the United States of America. He also faces a maximum of 20 years imprisonment on the charge of conspiracy to engage in money laundering, 20 years on attempted money laundering, and 5 years on the charge of foreign travel in aid of racketeering. The people who were charged with conspiracy with Mr. Fye to commit those offences are Mrs. Olivine Maynard and her son Kadeem Maynard. Mrs. Maynard was the head of ports in the BVI, and as the head of ports, her role was crucial in the conspiracy. One of the primary objectives of the conspiracy was to bribe authorities in the BVI to turn a blind eye or to ignore the movement of ships heavily laden with cocaine passing through the BVI waters on their way to the United States of America. Mrs. Maynard and her son Kadeem pleaded guilty early in the proceedings, and she also testified on behalf of the prosecution in the trial against Mr. Fye. Her son Kadeem has already been sentenced, and he received a sentence of 57 months imprisonment on the 20th of November 2023. It is reported that Mrs. Maynard will be sentenced on the 22nd of February, and it is said that because of her early guilty plea and her having given detailed evidence for the prosecution against Mr. Fye, she will receive a substantially reduced sentence. Following Mr. Fye's arrest on the 28th of April and his subsequent trial and convictions, the primary question that many have been asking is what motivated him to become involved in the conspiracy. The overwhelming answer which has been proffered to that question is that greed is his motivator. Despite his convictions, however, he maintains that he is innocent. Therefore, unless he changes that stance, one may never know the real reason or reasons that motivated him to commit the offenses. When that story of Mr. Fye first broke in late April 2022, it raised eyebrows in many of the other islands around the Caribbean, and it raised eyebrows across the world. It also led to much speculation, especially when there has been accusations that other islands in the region are used as drug transshipment points for cocaine and other drugs going further afield to North America and Europe. The story of Andrew Fye has been described as the man who seemed to have had it all and blew it. He threw it away. Some say that his story is tantamount to the rise and fall of illustrious men. Whatever it is, Andrew Fye's story ought to serve as a lesson to others, especially others in similar positions. It is a lesson that must never be repeated. That story shows that no matter how powerful or clever one thinks one is, there comes a time when karma will strike and one will get one's comeuppance. Andrew Fye now faces the daunting prospect of spending the rest of his life behind bars in the USA. His story also shows that criminals have no loyalty. It shows that they will turn on their partners in crime or their co-conspirators to get a better deal for themselves. We, here on A View from the Outside, hope that the Andrew Fye story jolts each and every Vincentian from the very top to the bottom. We hope that it jolts our politicians from the highest ranked to the most lowly. We hope that it jolts those in the civil service of the country. We hope that it jolts our customs officers, those from the very top, right down to those at the bottom. We hope that it jolts our policemen, from the most senior to the most recent recruit. We hope that it jolts our nurses, our doctors, and our teachers. We hope that it jolts our public servants. We encourage everyone to always try to do the right thing. We encourage you not to be lured by inducements or the promise of a big payday. Such a payday may never come. We also use this opportunity to remind you of the program which we did on Saturday, the 7th of January, 2023, entitled Aid and Abet. We encourage you to listen to that program again when you have some time. It is available on YouTube and other social media sites. Protect yourselves from becoming enmeshed in situations which may drive you to commit conspiracy. Until next week, this is Brereton Horne with A View from the Outside, with a reminder to send your feedback, as usual, to aviewfromtheoutside@hotmail.com. We invite you to visit our Facebook page at A View from the Outside and visit our YouTube channel at A View from the Outside.